Some high-profile new records that we've heard.
Oh, yeah, high profile.
Bees, you and I went down to hear the new him record.
We did, last Friday.
Tell us your, initial... when it first starts playing and you go, right, it's going to be like this, or, yes, it sounds good or promising.
Well, to be honest with you, the first track is, as is traditional with him records, I think, the first track is the best song on it.
Yeah.
It comes out the traps, and it does kind of set the tone for the record, in that it sounds a lot like Love Metal.
Yeah.
If there's a record that this one sounds like most, it's Love Metal. I think that it has... I think that it is the poppiest thing. I don't think that it's slightly poppy. I think it's definitely the poppiest thing that they put their name on. But as the record goes, it becomes more poppy. The thing is, there's a difference between being poppy and being accessible. And I don't think that it's because him on Love Metal still had this dark character to their band. I think that's what's possibly been diluted over the years. It's almost like they took a step into the unknown when they done Dark Light to try and become this worldwide huge band. Yeah, to try and break the planet. And it didn't work, and since they've been struggling to get back the dark identity that was on Razorblade Romance and Love Metal. It was flamboyant, but it was still dark, and I don't think that this new record is particularly dark.
No, it's not. I think Venus Doom was a kind of, after Dark Light, Venus Doom, I think was Vila going, well, fine, I'll just do what I want then, and made this sort of actually very dark, sort of trudging album, that was not obtuse, but just well, if I can't win that way, then I'm just going to do what I want. I think the new one it's almost as if whoever produced Too Fast for Love by Motley Crue had produced a him album. So you're right, it's got that Love Metal feel, only it's happier. And it's happy, but in a horny, frustrated way. It's not like
here he goes,
skibbity woo. You know what I mean? It's got that. I need to hear it more because we only heard it once.
Yeah,
I want to hear it in the headphones. I need to give it a few plays to see if the songs, the actual musicality of it leaps out.
I hear where you're coming from with Venus Doom. I definitely hear where you're coming from because it was a bit doomier, but I still don't think, even though it was sonically, it was on the low end a lot more, I still don't think that it was as dark as even Love Metal. It just had, him used to be this band that were polar, it was the polar opposites that made them great. It was flamboyance and a sinister edge meeting right in the middle, and that was what was great about him. And I'm just not sure that it's been recaptured. Yeah, it feels like, let me put it this way, there's a chance that him could become massive again. If you're a him fan, then by all means, man, get excited about it because it's massive. It sounds huge. There's choruses and it's just a big sounding record. A little bit one-dimensional in terms of pace, I feel. It's all played at a very
just above mid-tempo. And we noticed it because towards the end there's that track that's kind of got the drum and bass tempo and rhythms in, and you're suddenly like, oh wow, that's actually a lot faster than a lot of it. The earlier songs are a bit more up-tempo, as you say, that opener's a belter. And then just at the end, there's this bizarre sort of, grindhouse movies, like The Last House on the Left. And it's all sort of like fake blood and it's all the wrong colour, and there's that sort of like electronica noise. It's just this sort of dark ambient tune, and I really like it.
Electronic drums all over it, and it was, and ironically, I think that's the track that had the most character in it. And that was the one that felt the most natural, was the one that sounds like nothing else him have ever done. It's almost like, well, here's a record sounding like what we should sound like, and here's two songs at the end. One that's got a drum and bass intro that kicks into a kind of, like a Buried Alive by Love kind of pace to it. And then there's this weird ambient electronic drum, gothy kind of...
funereal dirge.
Big time. Big time. It's got that kind of funeral feel to it. They were the bits that impressed, were the bits where him stepped away from what him should be,
and their comfort zone,
kind of stepped away from what him should be and stepped into what him are in 2009. It was experimental and it was different, and it was the best amongst the best tracks on the record. There's a couple of decent ones on there, but most importantly, for the Him fan base. I think Him fans will love it.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's interesting, again, it's Vader's obviously very conscious and thinks about these things a lot. He's not one of these guys who, when you talk to a band and say, so, you know, what your inspiration or what were you up to, what was the idea? They're like, oh, we'll just go in the studio and just sort of like see what comes out. Vader had a very certain and definite idea that he wanted to make it punk in a punk approach. So, like,
First track definitely has a punk chug.
Yeah, and it's, in terms of the stripped down, there's not like dense built up layers. It's very performance-y. His voice is really back. He's been clean for 2 years now. And you can really hear, like, you know, all those, and all that kind of breathing-y stuff that's on Love Metal that I loved. Because you actually felt like the dude's on your shoulder, like, weeping. As opposed to it being a pop record with auto-tune and all sorts.
A lot of talk about love as well, wasn't there?
Well, he said that it's a very horny record. He basically was sort of falling in love while it was going on, while he was sort of writing it. And so it is this really, like, urgent, now, sex, horny, dark, now.
Right. So there you go.
There you go, kids.
That's a new Him record. Screamworks, Love in Theory and Practice.
And the next one we've had